Hello and welcome to Oweleketv News Update. I am Hadiza Galadima. Thanks for being with us. And now, the news headlines. Horse-train accident. Lagos compensate victims with employment and scholarship. Buhari swears in ex-IGP ARASE as PSC Chairman. Secondary school student dies by suicide after being sent home for school fees. Nigerian government officials engage in oil theft. NSA. Judiciary sack judge demotes too. Welcome back from the break and thanks for being with us. And now, the news in full. The Lagos State government has declared compensation for victims of the wreck between a bus and a train conveying staff of the state. In a statement on Tuesday, the state promised to employ one employable child of each of the dead victims of the accident and a concessionary scholarship to one of their biological children. This was after a 9-member committee set up by the state in the aftermath of the casualty of March 9 submitted its report. The statement says, findings of the report showed that the accident had 6 fatalities from a total of 102 passengers concerned, with 85 passengers on board the staff bus, while 17 were on the train. The committee, as part of its recommendation, advised death benefit from the group life insurance for the family of the deceased, provision of employment of one employable child of the deceased, and a concessionary scholarship to one of the deceased biological children. Injured accident victims were also recommended in the report to be paid full insurance claim as compensation, while any staff victim with a permanent disability is also to be compensated in line with the group life insurance policy of the state, amongst other benefits. The committee, in which consists of permanent secretaries from suitable ministries of the state public service, was set to recognize the families of the deceased and their dependents, as well as injured officers, and to determine reasonable compensation packages for each affected family and the staff of the state government. A final decision on the committee's recommendation will be taken by the State Executive Council and further directives communicated by the head of service, Mr. Hakeem Muri-Okonla. Meanwhile, a case of manslaughter has been established against the driver of the staff bus involved in the accident, Oluwaseun Osibanjo. According to state government, as soon as he is done recuperating, he will be charged to court. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday morning swore in the new chairman of the Service Commission, former Inspector General of Police, Dr. Solomon Arase, retired. Arase took his oath of office at 10:05 a.m. at the council chamber of the Presidential Villa, Abuja, in the presence of President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, SGF Boss Mustapha, Chief of Staff up to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and other Federal Executive Council members. This comes 2 months after the Senate approved him as chairperson of the PSC. It was reported that on January 24, 2023, Buhari delivered Arase's name to the Senate, asking the upper legislative chambers to approve him in line with Section 153 and 154 of the Constitution as amended. Arase, 65, who retired in 2016, was the 8th indigenous Inspector General of Police between April 2015 and June 2016, and has served in diverse capacity, including a head of the Criminal Intelligence and Investigation Bureau, the foremost intelligence gathering unit of the Nigerian police. The president also swore in 5 board members of the Code of Conduct Bureau, They include Murtala Kankia from Katsina State, Zephaniah Bulus from Nasarawa State, Farouk Umar from Yobe State, Taufik Abdulsalam from Ondo State, and Professor Juwairia Badamasi from Kogi State. Council members also observed a moment of silence in honor of late General Ladipo Dia, who died on Sunday, 26 March 2023. Dia operated as Chief General Staff and Vice Chairman of the Provisional Ruling Council under the Abacha regime. Born on April 6, 1944 at Odogbolu in Ogun State, Dia joined the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, and fought during the Nigerian Civil War. He was appointed Chief of General Staff in 1993 and Vice Chairman of the Provisional Ruling Council in 1994. As Chief of the General Staff, he was second in command and the de facto Vice President of Nigeria during General Sani Abacha from 1994 to 1997. Buhari went on to preside over this week's Federal Executive Council meeting, which began at about 10:30 a.m. And we'll be going on a short break right now. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. And now over to Kenya, where an investigation has been established by the police in Embu County, Kenya, after a 14-year-old boy who was sent home to get his school fees commits suicide. It was gathered that Dixon Wenda, who was a contender in this year's Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exam at Kiari Primary School in Kigomo Village, arrived home from school and discovered his mother attending to his other siblings. The area chief, Nelson Muturi, said after he informed his mother why he was sent home, he went into his room. After attending to his siblings, Wanda's mother called out to him so as they could go back to the school together, but was not responding. She entered his room only to find the body of her son dangling from the rooftop of the house. The woman raised an alarm, drawing the attention of the neighbors. One Reverend Robert Ngaya, who was among the locals who reacted to the woman's distress calls, depicted the boy as obedient, counting that the incident was unfortunate. The Special Investigative Panel on Oil Theft in Nigeria from the Office of the National Security Advisor, NSA, retired Major General Babagana Mungunu, had presented in reports in Abuja. In a statement on Tuesday, the representative for the Office of the National Security Advisor, Zakari Usman, said the panel received and inspected several memoranda and reports on the oil theft and casualties in its findings. Usman said the reports indicated that it was challenging to detect oil theft due to the role played by regulatory agencies and their administrators. The panel also observed that crude oil losses arose from the lack of proper reporting of crude oil production, illegal refining, theft from wellheads, and diversion from sophisticated pipeline networks. The panel also attributed casualties to the absence of robust industry-wide metering system and an ineffective security arrangement, Ndiomus explained. He further explained that the panel engaged key stakeholders from the state government, ministries, departments and agencies, security agencies, regulatory agencies, international and indigenous oil company, traditional institutions, host communities, artisanal refiners, etc., called for a quick enactment of the report and asserted that if the government implements the proposal in the report, oil theft will be adequately addressed, stressing that prompt implementation of the report would not only immediately impact crude oil production level to meet OPEC's quota, but will also attract foreign direct investment and serve Nigeria's economy and national security concerns. Mongono assured President Muhammadu Buhari's regime will study the report and see its immediate implementation, especially the recommendation with short-term perspectives. On December 6, 2022, the NSA inaugurated the investigative panel with extensive term of reference to investigate all aspects of crude oil theft in all its ramifications, and proposed wide-ranging implementable recommendations to enable the administration to take decisive actions to end the criminal enterprise within the shortest possible time. The panel was given 10 weeks to complete the assignment effective from the inauguration date. Welcome back from the break and thanks for being there. A magistrate court judge in Salka Mangana local government area of Niger State has been fired with immediate effect by Niger Judicial Commission Commission. The judge was sacked over alleged gross misconduct and abuse of judicial power. This was made known by the Secretary of the Commission, Abdurrahman Garafini, in Mina on Wednesday. Garafini stated that the decision of the Commission was taken at the Commission's 136th meeting on March 21, 2023, after consideration of the recommendation of the Justice Mohammed-led committee set up to look into petition against the judges. According to Garafini, out of 7 petitions, 3 were against IA, 2 were sufficiently proved by the petitioners, and the judge unequivocally admitted the allegations brought against him. He demonstrated that the report indicted Mohammed Bako for setting aside his duty in the judiciary by representing and protecting a suspect, Bala Idris, from detention by the police and the court. The secretary revealed that he was also indicted in a second petition over the alleged use of power of his office to intimidate and collect the sum of 400,000 naira from Fulani herdsmen whose cattle destroyed his beans farm. It was further discovered that Mohammed Bako was a judge in his case and used the instruments of his office to facilitate a gainful benefit for his personal interests and private affairs. Hence, the NJSC approved the committee's recommendation and terminated the respondents with immediate effect. Garafani also added the commissioner was also demoted by 1 grade level and 2 Sharia court judges over transgression and abuse of office. The affected judicial officers are Abdullahi Nasiru, the Sharia Court of Kuntubola Mina, and his colleague in Badagi, Muhammadu Baba Enagi. Garafini considered that Nasiru and Enagi are also to serve a tutelage of 1 year in other courts. Buhari appoints 6 federal permanent secretaries. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday approved the appointment of 6 new permanent secretaries in the Federal Civil Service. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday approved the appointment of 6 new permanent secretaries in the Federal Civil Service after the newly conducted selection process. Dr. Folashade Yemi-Eshon, the head of Civil Service of the Federation, made this known in a statement in Abuja through Muhammadu Ahmad, Director of Communications of the Office of the HOCSF. Now reports the appointees and their states of origin are Eswabana Asanye, Cross River State, Mohammed Kambari, Borno State, Richard Filangwa, Taraba State, Lamua Ibrahim, Gombe State, Yakubu Kofarmata, Kano State, and Olorun Tola Michael, Ogun State. According to Yemi-Eshon, the dates of the swearing in and deployment of new appointees will be announced in due course. DSS confirmed plans to install interim government. The Department of State Services, DSS, has affirmed a plot by some key players to install an interim government to stop Bola Ahmed Tinubu from being inaugurated as president. This was disclosed in a statement on Wednesday by Peter Afunanya, the public relations officer of the Secret Police. He said the Department of State Service, DSS, had pinpointed some key players in the plot for an interim government in Nigeria. The service believed that the plot, being chased by some ingrained interests, is not only an oddity, but a mischievous way to set aside the constitution and undermine the civil rule, as well as plunge the country into an avoidable crisis. The illegality is unacceptable in democracy and to peace-loving Nigerians. This is even more so that the machination is taking place after the peaceful manner of the election in most parts of the country. Armed robbers attack APC National Youth Leader in Abuja. Armed robbers have attacked the National Youth Leader of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dayo Israel, in Maitama area of Abuja. The incident happened on Monday evening. Israel took to Twitter to share his hellish experience with his followers in his tweet. He disclosed that his car was broken into and his belongings, including his ATM cards, token, and bags, were looted. The robbers also ravaged the glass of his car before exiting the scene. After the incident, some Nigerians speak on the level of insecurity, especially on vulnerable vehicles. Our correspondent has more on this report.
Cars in Abuja are safe, but are not safe at the same time, because sometimes it's not from the cars, from the citizens and the masses. We have a lot of boys out of school. They boggle car for a living. We see them on the road. That's what they do for a living. Why? You won't say it's their fault. They don't have anything to do. Not that you won't say it's their fault. It's something bad. They shouldn't do it. But they do it. Why? They have nothing to do it. Some are drug abusers. Some, that's how they live. Some don't even have food to eat. So it's not something new to boggle cars in Abuja. It's not something new, to be honest. A lot of cars are boggled.
Security level, like his position he lost in his car, to me is based on the security level of this country, and then with accessibility to things that can help you secure your property, like your car, yourself, and anywhere, and then places that are not well secured. You know, we go to recreational areas, we go to malls, you go to even worship centers, and then there's no confidence on security levels around there. So, and then anybody can just come inside and just do anything to your property, get your car stolen or something you left inside your car. And then cars, particularly, like going to places where there are busy places where we can get a whole lot of crowd in one place or the other. Cars are also being, how shall I say, cars are also being looted, being boggled, things are being, you know, if somebody can even be in the car and then you go, leave the person in the car. By the time you come back, you can't find the person or the car itself. So I think it's the security problem of this country. Everything about security in this country is very, very poor, to be honest. It's far below standard. It's far below even the Nigerian standard itself.
NPC to recruit 885,000 Nigerians for census. The National Population Commission has publicized that a total of 885,000 people will be recruited for the 2023 population and housing census scheduled for May. The Commission stated this while giving an update about the movement in the report, counting that it will last for 5 days and the total amount required to carry it successfully is 869 billion naira. According to the report by the Director of Public Affairs, Dr. Isiaka Yahaya, 626 billion naira of the total is needed for the census, and 243 billion naira is needed for the follow-up process through 2025. The Commission dispensed roughly 77 billion naira for the training of 885,000 people on the listing of all buildings and families in the country for 7 days as part of the essential requirements for the 2023 census. However, 57.5 billion naira was set aside for the enumeration of all listed individuals during the country's building, numbering, and house listing processes. It added that 53.2 billion naira would be needed to count every person's identified during the building, numbering, and household listing for the primary census operation. If some areas are not covered, we will conduct what is called mop-up. The NLC said it will last for 3 days because it's going to be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday and Sunday, there will be numbering, and if there are areas not covered, there will be a provision for mop-up. And now, over to politics. Labour Party cut governorship nomination fee from 25 million naira to 15 million naira. The Labour Party on Tuesday announced the cost of nomination and an indication of interest form for its governorship candidate interested in contesting the off-season election in Bayelsa State, Kogi State, and Imo State. It has been pegged at 15 million naira. The cost of the form, which is formally pegged at 25 million naira, was illustrated to 15 million naira to allow more participation. The party national chairman, Julius Abure, disclosed this while managing reporters shortly after the political roundtable at Dennis Hotel, the venue of the closed-door meeting between the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and the Labour Party senator and House of Representative members-elect in Abuja. The report that there were stern-looking security agents who mounted guard at the entrance of the venue and were seen frisking parties and guests coming to the event. The weighty flow of both human and vehicular traffic caused a bit of stir as eyewitnesses and residents in the area watched as politicians walked into the venue with their orderlies. The parley, which held to fine-tune methods ahead of the inauguration of lawmakers for the 10th National Assembly, failed to initiate at 12 noon as early scheduled. Abure stated that both Obi and the National Working Committee were impressed with the quality, willingness to manage issues, and design of the new lawmakers-elect. He said their members in the National Assembly will make the difference in their conduct, utterances, and the quality of legislation. Continuing, Abule also reported a slash in the cost of nomination and presentation of interest form for the LP governorship candidates interested in contesting the off-season election in Bayelsa State, Kogi State, and Imo State. He also said, after considering the complaints and the intervention of their presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, they have also reviewed downwards their governorship nomination fees for Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo State. They have also reduced the nomination fee from 25 million naira to 15 million naira for the governorship. They have also resolved to return the 25 million naira nomination fee paid by one of their candidates in Imo State, Humphrey Anumudu, who lost his life last week. Some Nigerians feel it's a thing of the joy. Our correspondent has more on this report.
I think they actually did that to allow people to participate more in politics. Because Labour Party, as you know, is not just a party like the usual party we all know. This is like the voice of the people. Labour Party is like a movement. You understand? So they always try to do things not just the way that we used to know, based on the other political parties we know, like the APC, the PDP, and the rest of them. So if they are reducing their amount for governorship participation from 20 to 15, that shows that they are trying to make more people participate in that. You understand? They have, the Labour Party have what they stand for, and that's the more reason why more youths are aligning with them rather than the regular politicians who are the people causing us problems in this country today. So I feel like they did that for the sake of allowing more people to participate. You understand? More people to participate. It's no longer the business as usual for just the elites, the people who are the affluents, the people who have so much money to spend in politics. They bring it down to whoever. That's the more reason why you see the idea of say an Okada driver, Okada rider in Kaduna State, having to clinch the senatorial or thereabouts, or House of Rep, right? So they try as much as they can to make sure they reach out to the lowest person. What they want is capacity, competence, and that's the target for Labour Party, based on what I can understand.
Labour Party, you know, is just coming up, so I guess maybe them reducing the money for the form down to the price we call. I guess it's because of trying to get people into the party or trying to encourage people.
That's the story on Oweleketv News. Don't forget to follow our social media handles displayed on your screen for inquiries and advert placement. I am Hadiza Galadima. Do the best you can. Be the best you can. See you next time.